You are live. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It is afternoon here in Palm Bay, Florida. It is a day's journey. Guess what, y'all? I'm truly glad about it. I'm glad to have you all joining me again today for another great edition of the Kingdom Fundraisers Live edition. I've got some good year-end tips for you all. In fact, I call it Fund Forward Friday. How about that? Fund Forward Friday. So these next 3 Fridays, today, next week, and the day after Christmas, we're going to have some funding forward information for you and your team. We really want you to close out the end of the year with some great information, some tools that you can directly use as you close out the year in fundraising. And I really want you to know this is just the beginning of the end. Watch this. We're closing out the year. 2025 is almost over, literally almost over. But 2026 is coming and you need to be ready now. Don't wait till 2026 get here. You need to be ready now. Good morning, my friend and my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime in a good way, Brother Mark. Again this morning, TGIFF, y'all don't know, but he knows that stands for Thank God It's Faith Friday. We have been doing that for the last 4 or 5 years together. But watch this, Mark. Thank God it's Funding Friday. That's what we're going to call it for the next 3 weeks. Thank God for Funding Friday. Why don't we just do that? Matter of fact, let's tag that and try to use that every Friday from now on. So instead of just saying Faith Friday, we thank God for the faith of God that we have you and I together. But it's Funding Friday. So how do you feel about that, man? Make it, send me a message. Let me know how you feel about it. Let's tell everybody Funding Friday is here. You guys are with me? Now, so as I start off the journey, and Mark, check your post. I sent something to you. You love it, huh? Yeah, Funding Friday. That's a great one. God gave me that while we were planning this, working on this script for the day. And so I just dropped that on. I wanted to drop that to everybody that today is Funding Friday. So we're going to keep the TGIFF. I'm grateful, God, you're so good to give us these tidbits to work with. Listen, I don't have a lot of time. For those of you all are aware, last Friday I wasn't live because I had some work done on my knee. So I've got to go do a follow up with my doctor. Been physical rehab, physical therapy all week, and good God Almighty, I'm sore. But I know this only lasts for so long compared to having the pain that I've been having for the last several months. So I'm working my way through. I ask y'all to continue to pray. But let's dive in to Funding Friday. Mark, I sent you the script, what we're doing. So, I'm behind a little bit when it comes to posting, but you know what we're doing. Look, I got a 3-week series. I want y'all to be aware. This is a 3-week series that we're going to be doing. This is week 1, Funding Forward. So it's Funding Friday, and I want to start teaching you how to fund forward for the next few weeks. What do you mean, Pastor Willie? Funding forward. We want to help you finish strong. Yes, it's Funding Friday. We want to help you fund forward. Why? So you can finish strong. And so I want to kind of help you work on your awareness and your mindset. And so let me ask you this simple question. Why does December still matter? You've done Giving Tuesday, you've got that over with. And why does this matter? I'm going to give you some tips. I want you to follow them. I want you to pay attention. But there's some things I want you to understand in this today specifically. December is not for scrambling. It's for stewarding. Now that the year is ending and you try to pull everything together, and you're rushing and trying to figure out how to close, if you've done everything right throughout the year, we've been teaching you and training you and talking to you all year long, you ought to not be scrambling. You ought to be stewarding now, getting ready. To Giving Tuesday, it opened the door. But in December, we ought to be carrying momentum from where we were to where we're going. And watch this. We ought to be showing gratitude plus clarity, and that equals confidence as we're talking to our funders, those people that have been with us. Some of these things we ought to be aware of, and we ought to be marketing these. So we ought to Fund forward. Why? So we can finish strong. We ought to focus on awareness plus mindset. Why does it matter? Because we want to make sure we finish strong. It's opened the door, but December carries momentum. You with me? Gratitude plus clarity does what? Equal confidence. So we want to move into that realm today so that we can make sure we're moving forward, right? So I got a call to action for you early, and I'm going to close with this thing. Before December 31st, I want you all to send out thank yous and vision messages. So we're going to work on some of that. We got 3 weeks to work on it this week, and we got a message for you next week. I'm going to end the show showing you what we're going to do next week already and how we're going to close the year. So how do we finish strong in 2026? How do we do it? How do we make sure that December matters? December is not for scrambling, it's for stewarding. And a significant portion of your charitable giving happens in the last 2 weeks of this year. Donors give based on trust, clarity, and impact. So you ought to be able to emphasize that. You ought to know how you built your program to this point. And I know a lot of you are brand new, just getting started. I had a conversation with one of my individuals yesterday, and I kept saying, let's bring all of this together. Let's focus on one thing, and let's make the ask. Don't be afraid to ask your donors for what you want and what you, more than anything else, need to close out the year. So 3 ways December gets wasted if we don't do it right. First, we're going silent after Giving Tuesday. Watch this. Too often Giving Tuesday comes, and after it's over, we don't say anything else. The second thing, ask again without acknowledging our supporters. Sometimes with those that have been a blessing to us, we ought to do what? Acknowledge them and let them know we thank them. And then we close out the year without any real direction. Those are the things that we end up doing wrong, right? So here we go. Mark has it already ready for me. Look at this. He has it already ready for me. Watch this. I want to get it up here and I want you to show 3 ways. There it is. First, we go silent after Giving Tuesday. The second, we ask again without acknowledging supporters. Third, we end the year. Mark, go ahead and post that next piece. Third, we end the year without direction. And that's what we have to do. We have to have momentum and move into the flow. Are you with me? So let's do this. I'm going to give you how to fund forward framework, a funding forward framework. And I'm going to use the word fund, all of the issues out of the word fund to help you get funding forward. You ready? Letter F. The funding forward framework. Here it comes. Post it for me, Mark, so I can follow it then. There you go. F. Finish with gratitude. Go ahead and post them all and I'll follow up with you. Finish with gratitude and thank your donors publicly and privately. Why? Because gratitude does what? Build trust. Right? That's what's next. You go ahead and post them, and I'm gonna follow. I'm gonna go with the flow with you today. I love it. I'm gonna say that again so we have that for our screen. Finish with gratitude. Thank the donors publicly and privately. Why? Because gratitude builds trust. You understand what work. I apologize. Yeah, I'm reading it. I know it in my head, but I'm reading it. I'm sorry, because it messes up the flow of trying to do this recording and get it out there. But in all reality, understand what worked review and then review what message connects. I'm doing it all wrong. Y'all got it. Y'all can read. There you go, right there. Look, understand what works, okay? Review what messages connected. Review what products was funded. And then data is discernment. That's how I'm going to do it. F, I'm gonna give them all to you in one flow because I don't want to mess you all up, and I really don't want to mess up this flow. The fund forward framework starts with the letter F. Finish with gratitude. How do you do that? You thank your donors publicly and privately. Why? Because gratitude builds trust. The Bible teaches us give thanks in all things, right? You understand what works. Understand what works. What you do is review what messages were connected, you review what products were funded, and then data is discernment. Always, I pray that you're tracking everything that you do. In my office, there's a bunch of stuff, but I know on my left what that one was for, on my right what that one was for, what's in front of me, and even what's on my computer being printed, because I know the data that I'm collecting for my clients and my people, they matter. FUN. Name your 2026 focus. You ready for this? Choose one primary mission focus. Choose one primary funding goal and choose one primary audience. Why? Because clarity attracts confidence. Instead of being all out there and trying to do all of this and this and this and that and this and this and that, pick one primary mission focus. And whatever that focus is, let's pick one primary funding goal. Let's pick one audience. Who is this for? Who are we going to serve? And who are we going to go after to help us accomplish that goal? Why? Because clarity gives us confidence. When we know what we're doing, it's a lot easier to accomplish. Letter D, develop early systems. Develop a monthly giving plan. Get you a grant calendar. Make you a grant calendar. If you've done the research from my 5 hours of successful fundraising, the research or area teaches you that you ought to have a calendar and you ought to be looking at when funding comes out. You ought to be already looking at what's going to be available in March, April. You ought to be looking at June because you got summer program. You got a fall. Don't wait to mark your calendar. And a good way to do it is look at what happened last year. Most of those seasons, they fall in place over and over again. Grant seasons for the states, grant seasons for the feds. Giving Tuesday is Giving Tuesday every year. How do you set your fundraising goals? And finally, letter F, fund forward intentionally. Yeah, I said that. Fund forward intentionally. Plan January through March giving now. Or funding or recruiting or researching, building relationships now. Build that now. Don't wait till January, February come and start saying, well, Pastor, I need help now. No, you need help right now. Don't wait till then. Plan January through March now. Preparation precedes provision. If you start now, you'll find a way to get it done. So before December 31st, here's what I want you to do. I want you to send a thank you and impact message to somebody, one of your former funders. Personally contact 5 supporters and then write a 1-page 2026 funding focus. That's why I want you to start off today. I want you to get these things done today. With me? You with me? I'm going to post those F's, post these fundraising focus for the year or your fundraising forward framework for the year. Here they go. Finish. Understand. Name your goal. And then develop an early system. When you do these things, Sister Teresa, you'll get things done. These are the tools that I give my clients, my friends, the people I want to help you get done. So if you fund forward intentionally, you plan January through March now, preparation precedes provision. If you start now getting ready for next year, guess what? Provision will come. So here's again my call to action. Here's what I want each one of you all to do. I don't care where you are in the world. I want you to send a thank you and an impact message to those. Look at who helped you throughout last year. Even if it was just some advice, send a thank you and a message. I want you to personally contact 5 supporters, 5 people, and I want you to use that pattern. Tell them thank you. Let them know something that was done this year that you were able to accomplish. And then write you a 1-page 2026 funding focus. What is your focus for this year? What do you want to accomplish this year? Just pick one. Don't name all of those things that you believe God called you to. I know all of us got them big ideas and we want to do this. Pick one. Let's focus on one. Let's see how we can get one thing done then we'll go to the next. Are you with me? So for these next 2 or 3 weeks, I just went through that again. December, Giving Tuesday is over. And so here we are. We want to have some gratitude. We want to give some clarity. We want to be confident in where we're going. How do we get into next year, right? So before the end of the year, send you thank you. Maybe a vision message, an impact message. Now, next week, we're going to continue our Fund Forward program and campaign, and we're going to talk about fixing the gap. I'm not going to tell you about that now, so you got to tune in next week to know how to fix the gap. We're going to close out the year getting ready for the next year on how to fund your first quarter. So I'm already giving you a hint about what next year is going to look like. I want you to make sure you're tuning in so that you can be a part of what we're trying to help you build on for 2026. Fund forward, fix the gap. So I need you to stay tuned. That's next week. It's coming, y'all. And we're going to make sure that we get you set up. I just want to get you set up for the new year. You know, I don't have all the answers, but the answers that I do have, guess what? They will help you if you follow my lead. If you haven't yet, connect to me on Facebook, DM me. If you need help with some of these, you need to let me know. Become a member in 2026. Part of your goal and my plan is to have you all get ready for next year. Become a part of the Kingdom Fundraisers Network. Get ready to be a part of our network so we can give you the tools that you need and you'll be able to be a part of all that we do. Not just getting it and hearing about it on Fridays, Funding Fridays. That's what we call it now. And so instead of just hearing about it on Funding Fridays, we can have some one-on-ones weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, however it helps you to become whole. Remember, our goal here is to help you go from startup to sustainability and to get your vision off of paper and onto the pavement. Why? So that you can have a consistent cash flow. I thank God for you. I want to make sure that you, if you haven't done so yet and you need some one-on-one, contact me. Go to my webpage, Repeat Inc., and you'll find my Calendly link. You can connect to me, schedule you a discovery session, and you go from, again, beginning to the end, startup to sustainability, get that vision on paper, get it on the pavement, and let's get you going. Look forward to hearing from you. Don't forget, go to my DM, write me, contact me, let me know how I can help you. This is Pastor Willie. Thanks for joining me for another Funding Friday right here on Kingdom Fundraisers. Love you, and nothing you can do about it. See you next week.